you said something that will always be embedded in my mind. You said to me, Osito has all of his shots, but he wants to know, do you have all your shots? And so I was like, who is this lady? Her dog bites me on a Sunday morning, and she asked me if I had my shots. And so that was over a decade ago.
Welcome to the Nick Fong Podcast. As the broker and owner of Ronival Real Estate, Nick has spent nearly 20 years in Baja California, sir. And in this podcast, he'll be talking everything Baja, from food and culture to real estate and property management. And now, here's your host, Nick Fong.
All right, back to the podcast. And today's guest, Lori Harrison. Lori and I have known each other for a number of years, and she works here in Ronival. And we were trying to connect for, if not weeks, probably months, just to sit down for a cup of coffee and catch up. And I thought, better to do it on a podcast. And so not just me, but everyone that listens and watches this can get to know who you are, because you're a fabulous person.
Oh, thank you.
So let's get us started off and tell everyone where you're from.
I'm Canadian-based, Vancouver. I lived my whole life there until I just couldn't stand the rain anymore. So I switched the rain, crossed two borders, and now Cabo San.
So you've been here for how many years would that be then?
25.
25 years.
25.
And did you start in real estate when you moved here?
No, you know what? I started, what brought me here was my husband was asked to import Corona into Canada.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that's a fun story.
Uh-huh.
And so we ended up coming down to do the deal in Guadalajara with the Diaz family. And after we were complete, they brought us over here. And this is 1989. And we loved it. We walked and we thought, what kind of a paradise is this? And we put our $15,000 down on a little condo on the beach called Terrasol. And all our friends said, oh, you'll never see that again. This is Mexico. And it took a couple of years more than we thought, but it was completed in 1994. Mm-hmm. We came down, had wonderful holidays, and then we just looked at what was going on down here. It was frontier. I mean, anything goes. Rally the wagons. It was a very sweet life, and there were lots of people in their 40s. Most of them were working in timeshare. Real estate hadn't quite.
Right.
So that's a long-winded answer.
So you moved down here 25 years ago, and you're not importing Corona anymore to Canada.
It's already there, yeah.
It's already there.
Yeah.
And so is it because of Craig that Corona is in Vancouver?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
He was a smart guy.
Yeah.
So what happened is when we came here, he got into a little bit of real estate, a little bit of timeshare, and I opened up a bed and breakfast. And back in the day, I'm talking 2000, this was everybody's dream, to live in the sun. You had a little inn, people came, you met people from all over the world. It was fun, it was easy. And I did that for 15 years. And then, we had our first virus situation, which was, I think, about in 2011. It was, we had the downturn in 2008. Right. Then we had that. And I could see, it's like the curtain came down and so we had no clients.
Yeah.
And I thought, what am I going to do? Well, in order not to stay and in order not to be afraid, we always have to learn. And I thought, I'm going to learn about real estate. I used to give my clients at the B&B to an agent. Mm-hmm. And finally she said to me, you do this all the time. Why don't you become one? Right. And I thought, ooh, that's got a bit of a ring to it. So,
mm-hmm. And so you did that. And that's where I think you and I know. Tell everyone.
We know where we met.
So this is a fantastic story. Lori and I used to be very close neighbors when I first moved here. And it's a Sunday morning. I'm going for a run in the neighborhood, and lo and behold, coming the other way is Lori and her four-legged friends, about like 6 of them.
Well, it
was
like
a
that.
lot. It was a lot of them. It was not only your dogs,
Oh.
but you were dog sitting for.
Okay.
And so, tell everyone what happened that unfaithful.
So
Sunday
we had
morning.
this kind of Greek North American god running up a dirt road towards us. And, he made Fit look like the flavor of the day. And nobody talked about Fit then, but he was. He was running uphill on a dirt street. And everybody was cool and chill. And I said, oh, here comes a Greek goddess. God. And God. And my little Osito, lovely little boy, said, I don't know if I like that he's coming towards you, Mommy. And so Nick ran by, and I'm smiling, Nick's smiling, waving, and all of a sudden Osito just went up behind him and grabbed onto the back of his leg. And I said, oh, he's such a good little dog. And Nick said, well, he bit me. And I said, oh, he's got a winsome personality, doesn't he? And Nick said, yeah, he bit me.
And I was bleeding. And so I could see the realization in Lori's face change from, oh my gosh, well, we have to go to the doctor, the hospital. And you said something that will always be embedded in my mind. You said to me, Osito has all of his shots, but he wants to know, do you have all your shots? And so I was like, who is this lady? Her dog bites me on a Sunday morning, and she asked me if I had my shots. And so that was over a decade ago. Mm-hmm. And so we've stayed in touch, and you joined us a few years back.
Well, you know what? I remember, as life changes, and it does,
Mm-hmm.
My life changed, and all of a sudden I had to think of, what am I going to do with my life? And it was Sunday. It was Easter Sunday, and we were all at brunch, and I saw Nick for the first time in many years. The leg had healed, and he said to me, have you still got that dog? And I said, no. And he said, well, I like your energy. What are you doing with work? And he said, if you're ever interested, come in and see me. Yep. So I went in and saw him the next day and began. Yeah. And that was when Ronival was
Los Cabos agent.
And so how many people did you have? I think you had 6.
Maybe if that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot more.
There's a lot more.
And so tell everyone what you do day to day, because you've been here for so long, and you know so many people. You're a fixture in our community. What do people from Canada do in Cabo?
Well, what people do is they drink, they golf, they party, they fish, they snorkel, they dive. Uh-huh. What I do is I love my dogs. I actually have 3, and I have a nice garden. And what I created was a kind of little wonderland. This is my oasis for my dogs. I have a horse. My horse takes up a lot of my time. I've always worked for the Humane Society. I took maybe 45 dogs up for just new people in Canada.
Like you brought them up to Canada?
To, one time I was on a plane and I had like 7 dogs. And this guy said to me, what are you doing? What are you doing bringing dogs, Mexican dogs into Canada? And he said, why are you doing that? And I said, because I can. Because in Canada, everybody's got big dogs. They want little dogs, and Canadians and Americans love the underdog. but they do love that helping.
Yeah.
Helping. So, okay, we got a little dog from Mexico, and so and cats too. I had one time a woman in the Pedregal. She had a cat in every room of her house, 12 rooms, and in her will, which was unbeknownst to me, she put, Lori Harrison is going to take these cats back to the buyer that she bought in San Francisco.
Get out.
So 12, the cats with the face.
Uh-huh. How long ago was that?
About 7 years. 7
really?
Years.
So you had to do a trip up to San Francisco?
I did.
And so who did you give it to?
The breeder who she had originally bought them from.
Uh-huh.
And, you have to remember when I moved to Cabo, there was a palm tree right down in the corner of town. And under that palm tree on any given day, there was probably 6-7 dogs napping. And this is how the Humane Society started. Now, of course, you've got many different vehicles and lots of help. You've got people helping children. And that's another thing. When you come here, if you're smart, you get involved in the community, not just the extranjero community, but the local community, because you meet the Mexican people, and our hosts are incredible. They are the most gracious, kindest. And if you learn 3 words like "Donde es el baño?" Oh, you speak such good Spanish. They're so kind.
Yeah.
And if you really begin to speak the language, and I do, and I'll tell you, I've got muy mal hábitos, my teacher said to me, because I take lots of shortcuts.
Very bad habits.
Yeah. And I learned from my maid, my gardeners. And so it's fun because when I go to buy something, I'll be out in the middle of nowhere and I'll say, "Dime la neta," which means bottom line. Cut the crap, just how much. Well, when you speak properly, they give you the best price.
Yeah.
If you walk in and say, "How much is this?" Well, you're hooped.
Hey, thanks for being a part of the Nick Fong podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast to get the latest updates. And if you're watching this on our social channels, please like and share. And if you want to be featured or you want me to talk on a certain topic, food, activities, culture, real estate in the Baja, drop a comment. And what other tips would you give people that are considering making the move to the area?
Well, what I've seen, people are changing. And when we first got into real estate, our client base was made of people that wanted to come down here. They wanted to integrate a holiday with their real life. And so they would buy condos, houses, and they'd ideally rent them out. And they'd get down maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks a year. Well, what's happened in this last 2 years with COVID? People have been forced to stop and slow down. For one of another expression, they've gone inside, literally in their houses and figuratively. And it's given everybody that luxurious opportunity of simple time to really consider, what do we want? And there's no time to waste.
Yeah.
And what's happening now is our client base are people that are actually moving here for the most part.
That's right.
And what we've got a huge number of people that are 65, retiring. And I know probably more than you guys do of the 65-year-old set. And a lot of them are not thinking retire. They're thinking rewire.
Oh, interesting.
Because I'm not ready to retire.
Right.
I'm a little above 65.
Not much.
But not much. But my mom is 96 in Vancouver. And this last 6-8 months, I started to think, oh my goodness, what am I going to do if I'm lucky enough to have those 25 years? And I'm more alert and alive now than I was at 55.
Why is that?
A lot of Sudoku.
Are you kidding me?
No. I'm sorry, I had to do that. But I'll tell you what happens, and I know it's a funny thing to say, but Sudoku causes you to think now.
Right.
And it pulls every part of your brain, and all of a sudden you're looking at the numbers in one box versus another. And at first I would be like, da, 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 da. And now I'm like, I've gone from easy to intermediate.
Go Lori.
And that is a joke, but it's, you guys, we have to use our brains. We have to use our minds. And I think if I can say anything, if you want something you've never had, risk doing something you've never done. That was always and that's what a lot of people that are in their 60s, 70s. I've got a fellow that just called me that wants to put an offer in on on a house in Cabo del Sol.
Oh, nice.
And, he just said, Lori, I want easy. I want easy.
Easy in a real estate transaction or life? He wants an easier life, and that's why he came to you.
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. I've worked for him before, and I always find it easy. But what we're all seeking, young, curly, straight, we're all seeking easy, and we haven't had it. There's such a change in our lives and in the way we interact, and I think in the States it's getting a little edgy. I overheard a conversation the other day between a sister and a brother, and they came here to vacation, having a great time, and they got into it. Presidents, thoughts, and I was one step away from saying, gee, guy, hold up. If she wanted your opinion, she'd give it to you, because she didn't want to hear his opinion. And we want a little more peace in our lives.
Right. And this is a great place to find peace. But even at that, a lot of us are running crazy, super fast, myself included, and you fail to realize why we're here. And we were talking about that. I always get these voice texts, random voice texts from Lori, just checking in, seeing how I'm doing. And I always appreciate that. You always bring a smile to my face. And so everyone knows that's your real hair, right? That's
all of it.
Homegrown, not like store-bought hair. That's the real deal.
No. Oh, well, maybe a little of something here and there. But, yeah.
We love your hair, your rambunctious personality. And so if someone is already here, they fell into the Cabo dream, the Baja dream, but they're not quite vibing. They're finding the transition tough. What would you recommend for those people?
Get out, go out, walk. Walk up to the microwave towers.
Yeah.
You're going to meet people up there. Walk, get your dog, take him to a different place, walk along the marina. Last night I was invited out on a boat called Seagull, out of the other San Jose.
Is that Steven Seagal's boat?
I don't think it's Steven Seagal's boat, but I think it's somebody who really liked him.
Okay.
And he has a business, lovely, lovely man by the name of George. And he took us out on this catamaran, and we went out past Palmilla, past moon was up, Mars was out there, wind was up, and that's why we're here. That's why we're here. And, people come here, and I just had one of the men that was on this boat, he said, he just moved down. He retired and rewired. And he said, you know what? I used to dream about getting up in the morning, taking my dog for a walk, going down to the beach, not just on a 2-week holiday, but actually walking on the beach and jumping in the ocean. And he said, now that's my life. Something else, and I'm just going to say it real quick because it's so important. One of the coolest things about Cabo is community. Community. And they were talking about this last night as well. A lot of people live in gated communities. They don't even know their neighbors.
Right.
Down here, you do know your neighbor. If you want to be social, there's always something going on. Hey, we're doing a barbecue. Hey, we're going fishing. Hey, we're going diving. And what's fun when you live here, you don't do the tourist stuff anymore. You don't go and pay full price for those. You've always got a friend. So
what have you learned in the 25 years here that you wish you would have known when you first moved here?
I've learned that it doesn't stop, and you have to keep going. And life changes, and it isn't static.
Yeah.
And if you believe great things are afoot, they are. And that's what you find. That's what you draw.
Yeah. And some people are probably thinking, okay, Lori, she's been around the block a couple times. Why is she still working? Why do you still work? What's your why?
Well, I'm I think I am the youngest minded, but maybe the oldest person working here. And no, I'm really, really fortunate. I don't have to work, but I have to learn. And I sort of thought, I'm going to step back, I'm going to step out. And what's happened is just through attrition, I get these little referrals. And as soon as I say, you know what, I'm retiring, I'm going to Egypt, I'm going to see the pyramids, I get a call, we're looking for, and you get pulled back in.
Right.
You get pulled back in. And it's fun. And as long as it's fun,
you'll keep doing it.
I'll be here. And as long as you're working with fun people.
Yeah, well, we hope that you never leave us. And so you'll be here for a very long time, impacting people, enriching everyone's lives that you're around. I mean, it's...
Aren't I lucky? Yeah. I mean, come on, stop talking like that. That's really lovely. Thank you.
So what did we not talk about that we should talk about? I mean, get me up to date. I mean, it's been months since we just sat down and had a chit-chat.
We've been working.
Yeah.
We've been traveling, both of us.
Yeah.
We've gone on beautiful little trips.
You went to Europe?
I did. I went to Greece.
Yeah.
I went to Greece. I went to see the pyramids. I went on a tall sail ship.
Wait. Pyramids? Greece?
Oh, I landed in Cairo.
Oh,
I went and saw the pyramids. Then I went to the Suez Canal.
Uh-huh.
And we sailed up the Suez Canal. There was about 50 rooms, 50 staterooms. And it was an actual sail. It was beautiful.
If I remember correctly, you were at a place, there was a restaurant, you were traversing this mountain kind of to get to the restaurant.
Oh, the green tent. The green tent, yes.
And you were just saying the stars and everything.
Stars aligned.
But there was something profound when you told me, like you made a realization or something.
Okay. Well, I think what was profound is, as we book on booking.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on this boat. I've got 5 days that I'm going to have. Everybody's leaving. I'm going to be in the middle of somewhere. And I didn't want to go to Mykonos. I didn't want to be where all the people were. And I thought, I'm just going to stay right in Athens. So all of a sudden they dropped me off in Athens and I'm looking there and I don't speak Athenian. I don't speak Greek. But I had booked this beautiful place, this beautiful condo in a place called La Placa. And La Placa is, for want of another word, kind of like San Jose. It's artsy, it's cool. And I get in the cab and I'm saying the Placa, and all the signs are saying the Placa is this way. And I'm saying to the driver, Placa, Placa, and he's saying, no Placa, no Placa. And I'm saying, so I just sat and went, anyway, he takes me up this windy road to the top of a hill to this hotel, great. And my heart just sank. I thought, oh my gosh, Lori, I'm so bad at the net, booking online and banking online.
Right.
He drops me off at this little hotel, looks nice. I said, not going to happen. Walk back down to the Placa. It's 5 kilometers. Not doing that every day. Get in the middle of it. And as life happens, we think we want something. I get down in the middle of it, and it was like an animal show. It was like rah, sis, boom, bah. Too many people. Chaos. Chachkas, buy this, buy that. So I just thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I went and sat and had a cappuccino and just thought, you're in this town, you got 5 days. This is 5 days of yours. What are you going to do? And I just thought, well, I'm going to walk back to the hotel. I said, where can I go for dinner? They said, you can go to the green tent. So I walked up. You walked up this forest, stairs. And I'm in, as I say, I've left Egypt. I'm in Athens. Stone stairs in a forest. And I walk up and I'm in this place and I met this young man. I said, how did you get this? I mean, it's the equivalent of putting a restaurant on the top of the
where the antenna is.
No, on the top of where the arches are.
Oh, are you serious?
Nobody's allowed to touch houses, restaurants, right. Nothing, lights. That's what it was like. And I said, how did you ever get this property? And we talked and I sat there and you guys, we've all had a couple of years. And I'm sitting at the top of Athens. I got my little half bottle of Champers, my Caesar salad, except it's actually a Greek salad.
Of course.
And I'm sitting overlooking this city and the stars are coming out. It's getting dark, the lights, and who shows up but the Acropolis in all its glory right there. And I'm just like, it doesn't get better than this.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what happened is it just in that moment, and you guys, it's going to sound so corny, but this is it right here, right now. Today is the tomorrow we worried about yesterday. I mean, right now, like, don't be worrying about your future. Don't get kicked back with the past. Live today. And there's this young gentleman who's the manager, and he kept coming over to my table because I was having the most fun. He said to me, there's all these people, you're having the most fun. I was, again, sometimes when you get up in those 60s, you're not the youngest. And in order to get to this restaurant, you had to walk up or walk down from the funicular. And all of a sudden I'm sitting there thinking it's pitch black. There's no lights. And I thought, oh, gee, I guess it's cool. I guess it's cool to walk down through the forest that I walked up through. And I said that to him, and he looked at me and said, no problem. There's not a lot of lights, but you can use your phone and go down all these stone steps. So I said, great. And he said, just as you're leaving, say goodbye to me. And you know what? And this is what happens in Cabo every day. And it does. We meet people. You meet people that affect your lives. And it's because when you're on holiday and vacation and you're looking for that new thing, you're open. And he came and sat down. And then I said, well, I got to go. And he said, oh, you're staying down at that hotel? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, great. And so I started to walk out. And you guys, I got to tell you, I just saw a couple of movies where the gypsies were out and people were getting stuff taken and blah-de-blah. And that's not my shtick. I don't usually get afraid of things. So, but I just thought, just keep your eyes aware. Next thing I know, I've got this beautiful young gent, hand on my elbow. I'm going to escort you to your hotel. Mm-hmm. This is his work, This is what you'd do. Our cameraman. Yeah. This is exactly the kind of thing he would do. And it's like it made my whole trip. And you see, if you're open, life comes to you.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Yes.
It's a long story. I'm sorry if you're still
listening.
No,
I think it's amazing. I know when you told me the story, I felt like I was in the moment with you. And I think that's one of the lessons that you've taught me, and hopefully some of our viewers, is the moment, the present, right?
Well, we've been hearing it. We've been hearing it.
Right.
But, when you get scared, and people do get scared right now, mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of things pushing at us and a lot of things that are unknown. Just look at where you are right now. Right now, you're either walking your dogs or you're going to your exercise class, or you're fine.
Yeah. So where are you, Lori, in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'm going to be in Cabo halftime and somewhere else halftime.
Where would that somewhere else be?
That's the $1 million question. I got to find somebody that wants to be with me that other halftime. Maybe it's in.
Is this a dating advertisement, Lori? What's going on here?
Maybe it's in Montana. Maybe it's in. But you know what? That's the whole thing, you guys. I don't want to move to Italy at this point. Mm-hmm. I don't want to start over again learning language. This is, when you live, this is your town. And it's small enough that you know people, and you go out in the day, hey, how are you doing? You go out for dinner, you always see someone. Yeah. So I've got to keep that and something new. 5 years. You know what? I got to tell you, let's work on next year.
Yeah. Let's work on today.
Lori,
I appreciate it. And everyone, hopefully you've learned a little bit more about Lori Harrison. And if you see her on the streets of Cabo or on the trails with her horse, Gabriel, make sure to say hi and say, what's going on, Lori? What's your next vacation? What's your next trip? She's an amazing person. I'm very grateful that you're part of the company, really. And
ditto. Thank you.
And until the next one, guys, bye for now.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
Oh,
Thanks, Lori.
I hope you don't have to cut a lot of that.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nick Fong Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ronival Real Estate, and follow Nick on Instagram at NickFong_Ronival. Ready to find your Baja dream home? Check out the latest property listings at Ronival.com or findmexicohouses.com. Hasta luego.